us millennials have a lot of problems. Choosing which streaming service to cancel this month, that our TikTok addiction isn't going away, or coming to terms with the horrifying fact that people born in the year 2000 could now be our doctors. But jokes aside, our generation faces one massive challenge that isn't funny at all: the astronomical cost of housing. When our parents were our age, buying a house meant saving about 3 or 4 years of their salary. Now, in the US, you need to work for about 7 years in order to buy a house. In the UK, that means about 8 years. And in Toronto, that's an insane 12 years of your salary. Here in Mexico, things aren't much better. Rents and house prices are shooting up way faster than wages. And for most people my age, having a place called your own home feels almost like an impossible dream. Spending money on rent every month can make it hard to build wealth and stability. And things like having kids or saving for retirement seem out of reach. So, how can we avoid being 80 years old and still paying our student loans? Recently, my husband and I made some slightly unorthodox decisions. We feel we found the cheat code to escape this trap. Or at least we thought they were unorthodox. Turns out that we accidentally stumbled onto something that Mexican families have been doing for generations. You'll see these neighborhoods all around Mexico. They are called colonias, or fraccionamientos, where families start with a basic house and slowly they build up and out over the years. Walk down any street of any city in Mexico and you'll see the evolution. Some are still small and simple, and others have been built up over 2 or 3 stories over decades. This isn't just about housing. This is a deeply ingrained cultural approach to build wealth. Instead of taking on a massive debt, families here have traditionally chosen to grow their house alongside their finances and family. Each room or story becomes a new chapter of their family story. This is also because access to credit isn't as easy as in some other countries. Interest rates are high, and a lot of people work in the informal economy. This means that it just makes more sense to start small and add onto your house when you have the money. What's fascinating is that while we thought we were being clever by choosing this alternative path, we were actually just rediscovering this time-tested approach. In a way, the modern expectation of having a fully finished home right away might be what's really unusual. And that's exactly what we did. Instead of stretching ourselves thin on trying to buy the perfect finished home, or throwing away money on paying rent forever, we chose a different path. We've accepted some compromises, and we're not living on a trendy city with cosmopolitan amenities anymore. But we are living mortgage-free, and we feel much more relaxed and comfortable knowing that our future is secure. And we have a little bit more free time to enjoy the present. So, I wanted to share our story with you. Is this a lifestyle, or is it actually just going back to what people used to do before our generation got obsessed with living in the most expensive neighborhoods to show off an aspirational lifestyle to people who don't really care anyway? Are you planning to visit or live in Mexico in the near future? I bet you'll have a very welcoming stay, surrounded by delicious food and very kind people. And I would love to help you immerse yourself even more. I've been helping people from different parts of the world for many years to immerse themselves in my culture by teaching them Spanish and the nuances of the language. If you also want to immerse in the culture along with learning the language, you can visit my other YouTube channel called Thrive in Spanish, where I help people speak Spanish. You can also visit my website, Thrive in Spanish, where I release vlogs and I have a newsletter every week where I talk about the Mexican culture and Spanish, of course. I also have classes and group conversations there. Check out my website and have a great experience in Mexico. Let's go back to the topic. What did we do? In short, we moved out of the big, modern city to a small and less developed city that hasn't participated in the economic boom that is pushing up prices like in Mexico City and Querétaro. Instead of buying our dream home, we're taking on a project of renovating an older house in need of some care and attention, and we're making it suit our needs one bit at a time. Working online gave us the freedom that many don't have. Working from anywhere we want. Like many digital nomads, we were chasing the dream lifestyle for years. Working on trendy cafes in Vietnam, spending time in co-working spaces in Colombia, or looking for expats communities in Ecuador. But eventually, most nomads want to put down roots. We chose Querétaro, a beautiful colonial city in central Mexico. It had everything: trendy cafes, restaurants, and a high standard of living to match, and the sky-high housing prices as well. The reality check in Querétaro hit hard. A modest home in the center that would probably cost $150,000 closer to $200,000. Getting a mortgage would be years of being house poor. You know, when you own a home but you can't afford to live it, adding the commissions, closing costs, and the constant stress of what if we lose our jobs? Suddenly, those trendy cafes didn't seem so essential. That's when we looked at an unexpected option, my hometown of Tula. A few years ago, I bought my parents' old house as an investment. We could have sold it to help fund our Querétaro dream. But here's the thing. This unloved house, even without a working kitchen, was valued at only $50,000. The trade-off was clear. Take on a massive debt to live in a trendy city, or live mortgage-free in a smaller town and gradually build our dream home. In other words, following the traditional Mexican approach we talked about earlier. With this choice in front of you, what would you do? You can keep living in the big city with all the amenities, paying a mortgage for the next 20 years, and you'll probably be living with the stress of knowing that if something goes wrong, the bank can take the house and you'd be back to square one. Or would you go for the security of living mortgage-free in a less desirable area and gradually fixing up an unloved house as finances allow without going into debt? I know a lot of people have opinions about this, and I'm very curious to hear about them. Here we are after a few months. We moved from Querétaro to Tula. This space that you can see behind me, it was just an empty space, and finally we have a kitchen. This is a thing that makes us very happy as a couple because we could finally finish a project that we wanted to finish. We also made some other renovations, like we changed the floor, we renovated the bathroom, but that's something that I will show you with detail in one of my next videos. But there's still a lot to go in order to make this house as we want it to be. Here I am in Tula de Allende, Hidalgo. I'm right in the center of this city. We call this area El Jardín de Tula, or is the main square. And as I'm showing you in some pictures and some footage that I have here, Tula is a small city and it doesn't have a modern architecture or a colonial architecture like many other cities in Mexico. This is the city where I was born. It's not very difficult to see the main spots in the center of Tula. You know, the squares, the markets, shops where you can buy your meat, vegetables. It doesn't have the big shopping centers where you would go every weekend like in Mexico City. But one advantage that I have here is that I have family. My grandmother lives in Tula, so I can just go and visit her whenever I want. My mother, my sisters, my family overall lives in Hidalgo. My husband and I can go for a road trip here in the state of Hidalgo, go camping. There are a lot of green areas where you can walk. So we've been doing a little bit of that. Do I miss Querétaro? Of course I miss Querétaro. I lived there for many years. I have friends there. I like many restaurants there. Querétaro has an important place in my life. There aren't many magic towns here in the state of Hidalgo. Tula isn't a magic town, although I believe it should be a magic town because we have the pyramids. An important culture was settled down here, the Toltec culture, and I will be making a whole video about that. If you visit Tula one day, you will know where to go and what to do. I went out of Tula when I was 18 years old to study. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to meet more people. And honestly, I believe that at this time of my life, I want to go back to my roots, and I'm very happy that my husband feels the same way. We will be rediscovering together different places. This is something that I will be sharing with you. I'm very excited to share with you. People are very friendly too. I just met some friends and they say this to you.
Welcome to Tula!
So stay with me in the next videos to know more about the state of Hidalgo, not only Tula, and all the activities, all the towns, all the places that you can meet. Have a great day. I hope you enjoyed my video and see you in the next video. Adios!